Good evening. Welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Kasuni Balachandra.
Hello there. Good evening. I'm Niket Karnaratna. We'll start off with the headlines as usual.
Minister Basil Rajapaksa says a budget which flows the benefits of development to all provinces has been presented. Debate on the second reading of the budget begins. The teacher unions praised the government for allocating the highest funds in history for education. The business community also commended the budget of 2022. Measures are underway to eliminate the earth slip threats in a mountainous section in Kadugannava.
On to those and other stories in detail. Minister Finance Basil Rajapaksa says a budget which has facilitated the flow of development to every province in the island, disregarding the differences of ethnicity and religion, has been presented through the recent budget proposals. The minister was addressing the media through online platforms from the Department of Government Information today. Minister Basil Rajapaksa said that there is one country and 9 provinces. People of different ethnic groups live in the country. The minister said that they are treating everybody equally. He also said that there are 14,021 Grama Seva divisions. The minister further said that 3 million rupees have been allocated to Madamulana, just as every other village received 3 million rupees each. He said that there are 4,917 local government divisions and each of them receives 4 million rupees. The minister, in response to a query raised relating to not allocating funds through the budget in the event of failure to reap the required quantity of harvest through the application of organic fertilizer, said that agro-insurance institutions have been set up to address the issue. The minister, clarifying in this regard, has further pointed out that in the event of incurring any losses, the State Insurance Corporation will provide compensation through the Agricultural Insurance Board. He added that the necessary funds have been reserved for this purpose. In reply to another question presented by a media person regarding the identification of special economic zones for the implementation of a special tax strategy, the minister has responded saying that countries such as Bangladesh, Vietnam, Singapore and Dubai have achieved rapid progress through providing new produce to the export market. The minister added that Sri Lanka is also hoping to set up new production investment zones in the identified sectors. The priority will be given to manufacturing of organic fertilizer, production of medicine, textiles, garments, rubber-related products, livestock, fisheries and aquatic resource products, electronic goods, sports items, steel and heavy metal industry. Production of drugs is to be conducted in 3 areas of Oyamadua, Millenia and Hambantota. Raw materials for the garment industry will be utilized. A revenue of 4 to 5 billion rupees is being earned through the garment industry. The minister also said that 2 billion rupees worth of textiles are being imported for the processing of garments. A factory in this connection has been opened in Iravur. The minister also said that export agriculture processing zones will also be set up in Mattala, Alpitia, Hambantota and Jaffna. The minister further said that the aim is to control the prices of consumer items through the proliferation of goods in the market by means of enhancing production. Minister Basil Rajapaksa, commenting on the prices of consumer items, said this is a problem prevailing since the year 1947. He further said that this is a problem affecting the entire world. Not a single government has reduced the prices of essential items. The only solution is the increase of productivity. The prices of consumer items are being determined through the supply of such items to the market. This is the only way to reduce the prices. The minister also said that they are striving to hand over the farmers the monies hitherto reached by the farmers of other countries and companies. He added that they have also received a sum of 31,000 million rupees to grant redress to those engaged in difficult fields of activities. First of all, the 10-month relief aid for pregnant mothers has been extended for a period of 2 years. He further said that the Ministry of Trade has been instructed to provide the bag of relief of consumer items. The minister said that never in the history of Sri Lanka was such a large sum being allocated directly on food security.
A webinar on Post-Budget Forum on National Budget 2022 was held today. Speaking at the event, the Governor of the Central Bank, Ajit Nivard-Cabral, said that the Central Bank will be able to support the government to bring up more investments to the country.
The underlying reason behind the budget's tax proposals as well as the other development proposals would be to ensure that this growth takes place. At the same time, we need to have stability, because it's very difficult to talk about growth unless the country as well as the economy is stable. In order to ensure that stability is also generated through our actions, the central bank has a special responsibility in that the Monetary Law Act demands that the central bank provides price and economic stability as well as financial system stability. And in that sense, I believe the steps that have been taken by the central bank as enumerated in the roadmap are very clear, and we'll need to ensure that those are implemented. I can assure you that there are several teams that are working on ensuring that the implementation of these policies as well as these plans are carefully done, and that is now at the priority list of the central bank as well. The other aspect of this whole exercise is to ensure that the debt is sustainable. There are many instances where several people ask us whether Sri Lanka needs to have debt restructuring, and I have to tell them, yes, what we need to do is to ensure that our debt is managed. I'm not going to use the word restructuring in a sense which is frivolous, but to say that every debt situation needs to be restructured on an ongoing basis. For example, if you have one debt where the interest rate is 7% or 8%, and if you can find another source from which you can borrow at a cheaper rate, then you would be technically restructuring your debt. And that's what sometimes people do not really realize. In the same manner, you could have a debt which is of a shorter duration, and if you are able to increase the period of the debt and also ensure that your payments are staggered even more, that is a sense of restructuring. If you can change the mix of your debt from foreign currency to local currency or between foreign currencies, that again is a type of a restructuring of your debt portfolio, which is to your advantage. So Sri Lanka has also understood that the reliance of Sri Lanka on international sovereign bonds has been quite sharp, and in the last few years there has been a fairly extensive reliance on it, which now needs to be shifted in some way so that we would have a greater control over the debts with a longer period of time. So that's why the government, very rightly, together with the central bank, is now examining the options of having government to government kind of loan situations, central bank to central bank swaps, the examination of the possibilities of securitizing remittances as well as other inflows. So these are all new options that the government is considering, together with the increase of the non-debt inflows. For example, the monetization of certain assets, or increasing the volumes of exports, increasing the volumes of remittances. These are all natural options that the central bank and the government is now examining in order to ensure that the debt profile and the debt positioning is a lot more sustainable than what it is now. So we got to work towards that diligently, and we need to ensure that the stability is maintained, and in so doing we would be able to support the government and its efforts to bring up more investment into the country. Already there are several areas of investments planned, particularly in the port city.
This is a growth-centric budget. This budget was formulated to boost the signs of growth that we have been experiencing since the pandemic. And the government is of the view that ultimately the sustainable economy that it wants to bring about is only possible with an aggressive drive towards bringing the structural reforms that will promote investments and productivity. As such, the budget can be looked at as a budget that has targeted reforms aimed at broadly four aspects. One is to strengthening the external position, shift to manufacturing-based investments, supporting the vulnerables in a targeted manner, strengthening the fiscal position.
I think generally for business, some of the other highlights are that the efforts to control the fiscal deficit, I think that will help to keep interest rates at manageable levels, because a higher fiscal deficit can result in the private sector being crowded out from credit. So some of the revenue enhancing measures, including the use of technology to increase the tax net, those in the tax net, some of the expenditure measures, such as the focus on financial management at public institutions, the focus on loss-making SOEs, the focus on a results-based management system. There was reference to key performance indicators and so on. All that can contribute to a lower fiscal deficit. Also expenditure management. I mean, one example was not commencing construction of new buildings for the state sector, and also other various expenditure management measures, all of which is very welcome.
A debate on the second reading of the budget of 2022 has commenced in Parliament today. On this occasion, Minister of Trade Bandula Gunawardena has raised objections on the accusations made by Member of Parliament Harsha De Silva. Member of Parliament Dr. Harsha De Silva said that the inflation has increased rapidly. The rupee value has fallen gravely in relation to the dollar. He added that they have a clear vision to rescue the country. He also said that they will very soon safeguard the masses from the burning problems in the country. They will genuinely grant relief to the people. Sri Lanka will be brought before the world, and the democracy will be strengthened through a market economy.
රටක් අපි සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයාගේ නායකත්වය යටතේ පුළුල් සන්ධානයක් කරා බිහි කරනවා කියමින් මගේ වචන ස්වාභාවය අවසන් කරනවා. කලින් හිටි ආචාර්ය
Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that Dr. Harsha De Silva delivered a political speech prepared by Samagi Balavega. It was not a scientific analysis on the budget proposals. The minister further said that the opposition has fully understood the repercussions of the COVID pandemic. He also said that no other finance minister has presented such a progressive budget under a pandemic condition. The minister added that the finance minister will enter the history for drafting a momentous budget proposal.
The Teachers Association says the biggest amount in the history of the country has been allocated on education. Through the budget of next year, the teacher unions have also commended the government for its decision to eliminate salary discrepancies of teachers and principals, a problem which has remained unresolved for 24 years. Secretary of the Ceylon Teachers Union, Joseph Stalin, said that the centralized problem in the budget has been the issue pertaining to the removal of salary anomalies of teachers and principals in the education sector. He added that the attention has been focused on all concerned regarding the allocation of relevant funds as promised to them. Accordingly, it has been disclosed in the budget to reserve 30,000 million rupees in this regard. The new salary scale is scheduled to commence from next January. President of the Education Professionals Association, Venerable Ulapane Sumangalathera, said that in professional struggles there is a conflict between opinions. In the event of not being able to come into a compromise, it is the entire nation that would be subjected to difficulties and not the teachers' unions. The Venerable Thera also said that the Finance Minister has clearly stated that this is not a salary increase but a withdrawal of salary anomalies. He has also said that they were grateful to the Minister and the government for acting with a good sense of understanding over the issue. It has been included in the budget proposals through the acceptance of the subcommittee report.
කිරීම පිළිබඳව. අපි කුහක නැහැ, දුෂ්ට නැහැ, ප්‍රතිගාමී නැහැ, හොඳ දෙයට හොඳයි කියන්නේ.
අධ්‍යාපනයේ සඳහා ඉතිහාස
President of the Sri Lanka Podujana Educational Services Association, Vasanta Hadapangoda, said that the biggest allocation of funds for education in the history of the country has been carried out through the budget of next year. Accordingly, education has been entrusted with 7.51% of the budgetary allocations. She also said that this measure would help to safeguard free education. President of the association also said that the government of the good governance had stated on reserving 6% of funds for the education. She has also recalled the march organized from Galle to the Ministry of Education. Vasanta Handapangoda further said that although people such as Joseph Stalin and Mahinda Jayasinghe had assisted in the defeat of the Mahinda Rajapaksa government, they were not able to receive the 6% share for education. Only the university lecturers had resolved their salary problem and remained silent. She has further stated that with the re-emergence of the Mahinda Rajapaksa regime under the leadership of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, steps have been taken to remove the salary anomaly. She also said that it takes only 54 billion rupees to remove the salary discrepancies through the implementation of the Subodhani report. She further pointed out that due to the intervention of the group headed by Joseph Stalin, they were unable to win the 54 billion rupee resolution. She has accused the Joseph Stalin group for always trying to deprive what the teachers and principals were destined to receive. President of the National Independence Teachers Association, Sudhanta Ratnayaka, said that the budget has been presented with a long-term vision at a time the entire country has been subjected to an economic collapse triggered by a worldwide crisis. This was a budget proposal centered upon the development of the education sector. He further said that the Minister Basil Rajapaksa has given a pledge to the country to resolve the 24-year problem of the teachers. He added that he has given an acceptable solution.
Colombo Business Association at a media briefing today has extended its thanks to the government for presenting a constructive budget amidst a global pandemic situation. General Secretary of the Colombo Business Association, Shaminda Vidanagamage, says that if the country is self-sufficient and if there's money in the treasury, it is easy to prepare a budget. However, under the impact of the global pandemic, the revenue sources of the country have declined and annual income has decreased to 97%. He added that therefore, under such circumstances, they are grateful to the government for presenting a such progressive budget. A sum of 5,000 million rupees has been set aside for the creation of minor and medium-scale industries. The General Secretary of the association further said that if the country is able to fulfill its objectives in these two sectors, it would become possible to increase the country's local production. He has also commended the government's decision to not to levy a registration fee from those who are commencing new businesses. Presently, the charge of registering a new business is 50,000 rupees. The Secretary also said that in order to bring back the country into the former level, the implementation of a practical program is necessary. He also said that they are confident that the Minister of Finance is able to unleash such a program.
The excise revisions which have been proposed through the budget of 2022 are being implemented with effect from today. Accordingly, prices of many produce have gone up. Media spokesman of the Department of Excise, Kapila Kumarasinghe, said that the relevant tax amendments are scheduled to be implemented with effect from today. He also said that when analysing the tax revisions, it has become clear that the tax increases have been imposed in a manner to discourage the consumption of liquor with a high concentration of alcohol. The National Authority on Tobacco and Alcohol says that the purchasing of cigarettes would decline substantially as a result of the budget proposal to increase the price of a cigarette by 5 rupees. Chairman of the National Authority on Tobacco and Alcohol, Dr. Samadhi Rajapaksha, said that 1 out of the 2 consumers of cigarettes faces untimely death. This is more serious a situation than the government receiving an income from tobacco products. With the increase of the price of a cigarette by 5 rupees, the purchasing potential will go down by 1.1%. A death due to smoking occurs in every 11 minutes. The price increase would enable to save 1.5 of human life expectancy in a day.
Director of the Medical Technology Services Division, Dr. Anwar Hamdani, says that an increase in the hospitalization of COVID patients has been observed. He reiterates the importance of all acting according to health guidelines. The Minister of Health says reporting of COVID-19 patients has exceeded the figure of 700 daily in the past few days. The highest number of COVID-infected patients have been reported from Sri Lanka on the 29th of August this year. The Director General of Health Services have confirmed 22 COVID-19 related deaths which have occurred yesterday. The number of fatalities of the age of 60 years and above was 17 and the remaining 5 victims were between the ages of 30 and 59 years.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will preside over the national Kartina Ceremony at the historic Sri Mugunarama Vihara in Colombo in Paduasnuwara tomorrow. The Kartina robe was carried in procession this afternoon. The procession, which has started from Sri Mugunarama Vihara in Colombo, will travel through Hettipola, Kuliyapitiya, Naramala, Kurunagagola, Variapola and the villages of the Sataraperua of the Vihara. The President will offer the Kartina robe to the Mahasangha tomorrow afternoon.
The National Building Research Organization says that although an earth slip remained active in a section of a mountain in Kadugannava along the Colombo Kandy Road, it has not caused any impact on the roadway. Technical Director of the organization, RMS Bandara, says that the removal of water flowing into the interior of the earth from a fractured location has commenced. Meanwhile, Director General of the National Building Research Organization, R.C.D. Karunawardana, says that seeping of water into the earth interior from a splintered location near the railway track between Upper Kote and Karigamua has also been witnessed. He adds that accordingly, the technical officials of the organization were engaged in the removal of the trapped water by digging a route in parallel to the main road. The organization says that the earth slip's threats could be minimized through the removal of water, piercing 5 similar routes. Piercing of 3 holes have already been completed and work on the 4th route is underway. A group of officials of the National Building Research Institute, university students and lecturers are engaged in research in the hilltop. Groups of officials of the Road Development Authority and the Sri Lanka Army are also taking necessary measures to prevent the occurrence of further earth slips.
Minister Chamal Rajapaksa says a program has to be commenced to create new farm entrepreneurs on the regional level for the manufacturing of organic fertilizer. The minister has made these remarks addressing a conference of district secretaries yesterday. The minister has looked into the problems on the professional level faced by the district secretaries at the session held at the auditorium of the State Ministry of Home Affairs. The minister has also pointed out the importance on the implementation of programs to enlighten farmers on the application of organic fertilizer in crops. Programs to educate farmers on the usage of nano-nitrogen liquid fertilizer has taken place in Vannarikulam in Kilinochchi yesterday. A group of Indian nationals were engaged in enlightening the farmers in this connection. The funeral of veteran musician and singer Visharada Lakshman Wijayasekara is scheduled to take place at the Mount Lavinia General Cemetery tomorrow evening. Artist Wijayasekara, who has remained ill for some time, passed away at the age of 73 years. The remains of Lakshman Wijayasekara now lie at his residence in Kalapura, Mount Lavinia. He had entered the music field in Sri Lanka in the 70s decade and won the hearts of the local fans. He was an artist who has inherited many songs to the culture. Wijayasekara had been successful in winning the love of the spectators through singing and acting in teledramas such as Rekha, Ganga Saha Nissanka and Irapaya, which were telecast in the national television in its inception stages. Actor and singer Lakshman Wijayasekara had commenced his professional career as a music teacher in a government school. That's all the news for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll meet again next time. Good night.
Good night.